Mandy's presentation is that the world of work is in flux. We can either be scared or we can see it as opportunity, and he said the future is bright. So a lot of young folks in the room, it's up to us to grab these opportunities and using technologies that are available in our fingertips and try to adopt them. And he also talks about that we as engineers, we are able to create solutions using all the technology stacks that's available to us. And I would like just to remind all of you, keep sending your questions on Slido. We'll look at them later in the panel. Andy said that we are disruptors. And this kind of lead very well into the next presentation, where Mr. Sudeendra Koushik is going to talk about rethinking disruption, the user empowerment. As I said earlier, is that today the user is at the center of everything that's happening in this disruptive environment. If you look at Uber, Uber did not redesign transportation, but Uber and more today we're talking about user-centric designs. In actual fact, companies now, providers now, are trying to adopt or align with people, customers, users who have already developed their own technology stack. In order to access these customers, the companies will have to follow suit. Yeah. So, Mr. Sudeendra Koushik is Chief Innovator and Co-founder of Prasu, innovation consulting company. He's a visiting faculty, National Institute of Design in Bangalore. He's a member of the Board of Governors of IEEE Technology and Engineering Management Society. He's the chairman of IEEE Technology and Engineering Management Society in Bangalore. He's vice chairman industry activities for IEEE. He's also chairman of IEEE Bangalore, member Asia Pac Committee on Innovation. So he has a very broad experience in technology, and today he's going to talk about where the human being actually fit in all of this environment. So let's give him a big round of applause as Sudeendra comes forward.
Namaskara, good afternoon. I've been lucky because Andy has taken away all the problems of post-lunch session, so I have the luxury of talking my mind out. Thank you. It's a pleasure being here. It's an honor. Thanks to IEI, Dr. Gunaraja, Major General Bhattacharya, and IEM for inviting me. I have a disclaimer that goes with the story. There was a person like me who wanted to learn parachute, how to jump from a plane using a parachute. So he learned for a few months, then he got ambitious. He said, I want to buy my own parachute. So he went to a shop. He said, I want to buy a parachute. The shop was owned by a guy who was an experienced person in jumping with a parachute. So he asked the guy, show me some models, I want to buy a parachute. So he said, this, ABC, you can buy one. So a little bit sensible guy, unlike me, he asked which one to buy. You are saying ABC. He said, buy this model, B. So he said, okay, that's interesting, but why B? Why not A or C? The shopkeeper says, whoever has bought this has not come back and complained. So why do I say that? This is a very interesting topic. A lot of perspectives will be thrown at you. Don't listen to everything that we say. Make up your own mind. Think what makes sense to you, and let's see how it goes. So these are just a minute on why I am here. We have a cooperation between IEI India and IEEE. It was started by these three great people, and we all know these three gentlemen. So they founded a society in the US, which later became IEEE. You can Google more in that website. But there are also a lot of brilliant people in our community, close to 500,000 people, and many of them are Nobel laureates. So the reason is when we meet such people like you, we learn a lot, and we come out of the zone what we call, I don't know what I don't know, which is also a state of bliss, because if people are unnecessarily happy, they must be in this zone. Okay, now what my company does is very simple. We work with industry like this to help them innovate. We work with academia, which are mostly in India right now, help them come up with innovators for the community, for the faculty, for their innovation centers, and help startups, because which is also a hype in India today, and we need to ride the hype wherever it is. Having said this, let me go to a quick recap of disruption. I think Basu and others did a great job in explaining what disruption is and how it works. But basically, if you look at it, there's a current set of market, there's a current set of users, so to say, and then suddenly there is a new set of market or a new set of users, which either these people, the incumbents, thought it doesn't exist, or nobody will create that market. So there is a kind of complacency. Now you can see it where it all came from. It started with cars. If we had asked the wrong question, we would get faster horses, not cars. So we got light, we got electricity, and so on. And recent times, we got the smartphones. Probably going ahead, we'll get driverless vehicles. But the question for me is not this. The question is, who did this? And it is not always the biggies who are already part of this story. They are somebody who didn't thought exist. Officially, Tesla has overtaken BMW, officially. In what, 10 years? And BMW has been over 100 years. So there is no guarantee that because you are successful in the past, you will be successful in the future as well. Not even present. The Nokias, the Blackberries disappeared right in front of us because they did not do anything wrong. They did not do something right, I say. It is just that they missed a point which others saw. And this is the danger of how a disruption can happen. And the company which does that can happen in two ways. It can disrupt the top line, new products, new services, new revenue models, etc. It can also disrupt the bottom line. And some people do not understand this very clearly, so I try to make a point out of it. This is what the customer can see. You give me an airbag in a car, I'm very happy. I'm very happy that it's a big disruption in how accidents could save lives. It's a very big disruption. What is the bottom line disruption? How Walmart did, which is basically saying, I will change the way we procure things so that you get it cheap. You don't need to know how I do it, but you will get the benefit of what I do, disruption. Dell did the same by taking out the middleman in the whole story and giving computers at a lower price. So having said this, now we can look at it as a user perspective. He thinks of three things. What is my perceived value of a new product, which is going to be disrupting me? How easy is it to use? Will it reduce my effort to use it? Or can it make my cost of ownership low? It's not a cost of buying, it's a cost of ownership through the product of a life. We all know the story of printers. After 3 cartridges, you have spent the money for the printer. You better buy a new printer of the third one, right? So in this concept of disruption, how do we manage it? I always believe that, maybe you can play the video for me, please. Why should we do it? The point is the second half. We might be caught napping, but you will only clap hands for somebody else, not for yourself, if you miss that moment. It's very important to do. It's very easy to, because like many of the speakers said, I have 98% market share. Who can even come in close to me? No way. I am the king. And those are the ones who are probably going to be disrupted as well. Okay? I like this for a disruptor. So one of the best ways to disrupt is to be a disruptor yourself. Anybody knows this picture? This gentleman was the tractor owner, Ferrari brand owner. He was insulted by Ferrari. He was a tractor brand owner. He was insulted by Ferrari when he wanted to buy a car. So what did he do? He said, hoots to you, I will do my own. And today this is more valuable than a Ferrari. So just by being resilient to setbacks, resilient to challenges, you can do wonderful things. Now, why is this important for us is there are 2 ways to handle disruption. Defend it, because somebody is going to eat your market share otherwise. Okay? Those who cut onions know this very well, how you defend from crying when you cut onions. This is onions, by the way. The other way is to engage, attack. General would know much better than me. You want something, go for it. Of course, there is risk and reward. If there is no risk, probably there is no reward. Everybody would do it. So you need to find your strategy. You need to find your way to get things done. You cannot sit back and say, I will not play the game. Then anyhow, you are out of the game, right? So if this is the case, the key then is innovation. I am a little bit passionate, so please stop me at the right time or 3 minutes before I should stop so that I know when I should shut up. Important thing is, it's so important innovation. It's SDG 9, Sustainable Development Goal number 9. That means it is linked to prosperity, it's linked to society, it's linked to economic growth, it's linked to practically everything. But it does not, the beauty is it does not depend on any particular technology itself. Let's see some examples. Today, the Global Innovation Index, GII, you can see it's a live report available free on the web, shows that, I just picked up, that you were 75 last year, you have slid a few points this year to 82. And just to give a comparison, we have moved a few points up. And we were close to double of this 5 years ago. So this gives a view of where countries are heading, especially in Asia Pacific. We are all trying to move towards a kind of innovation economy, as we call it. If you don't do it, actually it's not a choice. Somebody else will decide what happens if you don't do it. 2 out of the 3 companies will just disappear. We just discussed about Nokia, BlackBerry, etc. There will be more such names coming out. Okay? It's not a choice that you have. So when I was doing my PhD in innovation, somebody said, you know what, by the end of it, have your own definition, because that's a requirement to prove that you have a PhD. I said, okay, I will do that. So my definition is very simple for innovation. It's something new and something useful. New is easy. I can make a new pant which is one side is half, other side is full. It is very new. Probably nobody will buy it. Probably there will be few people who will buy it. But making something new and useful, it's not that easy. It takes a little bit of craft and a little bit of resilience and a bit more of that to do that. So what has happened then? There is a confusion also, which people have, is what is research and what is innovation then? According to Dr. Nicholson of 3M, there is a very nice way. Research converts money to knowledge. Innovation converts that knowledge back to money. And as you can see from the picture, it's typically more money than you put in, ideally. Then you have a sustainable business, right? And then you can feed some of the money back to more research and you get it. So this is essentially what separates research and innovation. And businesses usually look at both, how they want to and how much they want to invest in either of this. Now, what is it to do with the user then? A user sees an opportunity. It could be a simple mosquito repellent, because I had mosquito in my room yesterday, I remember. Or it could be a solution for that opportunity. There are 8 types of solutions for mosquito repellents in India. It could be something new, and which is something useful. Now you might ask me, what can be new in a mosquito repellent? A mosquito repellent in India, the latest innovation is, it will increase the intensity of the liquid disposition based on the time of the day. And why it's based on time of the day? Because that is the time of the day when more mosquitoes come to your house. So apparently that's an innovation they have done. So when you have all these elements, you can create value. Now, user pays for value, not for innovation. In India, we have peanut vendors outside big bus stops and parks. Maybe Basu might remember. He gives a long 10 rupees, he'll give a long peanut cone. Half of the cone is empty, but you cannot make out, because only the top half is filled with peanuts. He charges 10 bucks. We don't pay 10 bucks if you don't want it. Not even though we have 10 bucks, we don't give him 10 bucks because we don't want peanuts. What if we give him 10 bucks and say, we don't want your peanuts? It's a very weird proposition. Why do you want to give him? People ask. Yeah, but you give tips when you go to a hotel, maybe 100, 200 bucks. The idea is, when you get something back, which is important to you, you give something from you, which is money. Okay? In that context, delivering value becomes key for a company. A company usually hunts for customers, right? What does the customer pay usually? It's always money, right? Businesses are there to make money. What does the company give? Not a product, not a service, but a value, what the customer, whatever may be a value for him. Maybe it's a small car, or it's a big car, it's a Ferrari, or it's a Lamborghini. He has. What connects them, because there is a disconnect between the two, is what's in it for me. Everybody in this room and everybody in this world have a what's in it for me. It could be different for us. The only option is whether we know it or whether we don't know it. People ask, what does saints have in life? Because they don't want anything in life. That's what they want. They don't want anything in life. That's exactly what's in it for them. They want solitude, etc. But the question is, if we understand it, we are half successful already. Then we can make what is valuable for people. If this is so, you can think now 2 big questions to ask, irrespective of which branch of engineering we come from. Why and so what? Let me give my own example. As a head of innovation of a home appliances company and an engineer, I was asked, hey, you should make, this was 5 years ago story, you should make a technology product, IoT product for kitchen. I said, isn't it overdone, IoT for kitchen? No, we should. Technology, IoT is hot, so we should do. I said, okay, that's my job, let me do. So I made an induction stove. Everybody knows an induction stove? So my mother is my case, okay? So I went to her, I still remember, she was on my right side. I put the induction stove on the dining table. What is the specialty of this induction stove? It's an app-controlled induction stove. As an engineer, I said, wow, I can control this by app, okay? So I told her, Mom, this is induction stove. So I connected, and I launched the app and did everything, pressed. See, it switched on. She said, so? You are standing next to it. You could have as well pressed the button. Why did you all this and say, now it's switched on? So I'm an engineer, vice president, so how can I accept defeat? I was going to China the next day. I said, Mom, I can switch on from there. Then said, why? What will you do? You will call me and say, you have switched on, I can keep rice on it, or you said it's switched off, now you can take it out. What is the point? There was no point. There was absolutely no point. This is what we call the anti-Nike theory. Don't just do it, because it's very easy to just do it, especially for engineers. So this was a story about the induction that I talked about. Now, if you do that way, let's come to non-technology then. Those who know this story, how many of you? This is just a simple dhoti which exists for I don't know how many centuries with an advanced dhoti. What is advanced dhoti? There is a Velcro, which you don't have to tie if you don't know how to tie, and there is a pocket. Pocket is also not new technology. So what is the innovation here? Why did my father and your parents did not need a dhoti with pocket? They didn't have a mobile. It's simple. They were much happy, they didn't need a pocket. Now that is, we are in a gender equality society. So then they say, let's have a sari with pocket. Why? They also have a mobile. So we need a solution for every problem, which may not have technology. This is a sari which was launched about 2.5 years ago. I don't know how it is selling. The idea is, it's not about what is new, it's about 5 minutes, okay. Then I have to really rush. This is another one, which I don't want to discuss because of time. You think why it is for and what it is for. It's something like my IoT induction stove, okay. If you drop you look at the left top on the screen, that is the jet control, speed control, everything. And if you forget before you go inside, or if you drop it in the wrong place, you're in serious trouble, okay. So it is very easy to make something new. So what about patents? A typical iPhone 3 has close to 20,000 patents. And it's not all from Apple. It's for people like you and me. I have 21 patents, which has nothing to do with all kinds of technology, from airport terminal management to video signal processing to data redundancy. I'm not saying this for anything. Innovation is actually technology and domain agnostic. It doesn't matter. Actually, it doesn't matter, right? Now, there is a nice slide of this is the 3 to plus 2, 5% of the patents are actually only breakthrough. The 95% are just significant or major improvement, which creates significant value for people. So the business value is not only necessarily that you have to come with a breakthrough innovation itself, okay? This is a simple one, which is really on sale 7 months ago. How to carry 2 pizzas, a soda bottle and napkin, and somebody is trying to sell this for $1.5 million as a patent, non-exclusive deal. You can ask, what is the embedded technology, IoT, artificial, nothing is there. Just plain cardboard, cut in a certain kind of shape, right? Now, it is not that technology is the disruption, it is the application of technology. The benefit it gives can disrupt. So we should not look at, in the Bruce Lee story, he shows the moon, and the kid watches the finger. He said, don't look at the finger, look at the moon. That is what I want you to see. Same with technology. It's not the goal, it is the means to a goal, right? Now, if it is so, the beautiful summary of innovation is, it's a creative problem-solving method where we all look at the same thing but think something different. Today, information is no advantage. If you Google or if I Google, I'll get the same page. But what do you see? How do you interpret what you see is very different, right? A quick exercise, just 30 seconds. You don't need pen and paper. A bat and a ball cost $110. The bat costs $100 more than the ball. What does the ball cost? There is no trick in this question. How many of you 10? Just a quick raise, okay? Others? How many of you 5? Okay. I will remember your answer, and if you change, you can also remember the change. We'll get back to that. Those who answered 5 are the analytical type. Those who answered 10 are the intuitive type. Analytical people see exactly it should fit in an Excel. Intuitive people, it does not exist anywhere. except in their head. So they see things which does not exist, and these people don't agree with them that there is something which can be possible without what is not possible by calculation. They always clash when there is an innovation. Now, what are the barriers then? There are typically, anybody has seen this? Do you know what this is? This is a mosquito repellent in India. Okay? But the canister is this. The canister is very different. Somebody has made a canister which is nothing to do with the actual liquid. The idea then is, there are two things, wrong assumptions. We make wrong assumptions, and then the context. Can you please play the video? Problem solved. Engineers are always hunting how to solve a problem. If you have not read the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, the essence of the book is that the lady tells the husband, I have this problem. What does the husband do? Try to fix it. She says, that's exactly what I don't want you to do. Just shut up and listen. That's the only thing I want you to do. But we always try to solve a problem. Without knowing the context, we always end up solving the wrong problems. Because of which, we have only about 4% of people in organization that I showed about are exclusively talking successful innovation, and 95% of the startups fail because they solve the wrong problem. They're very smart people, very qualified, very well-equipped people, but they have picked the wrong problem. There are numerous stories around that, which I don't have time to share today. Because it says it's not that you cannot find the problem. It's that the essence is we cannot find the problem because we always are focused on solution. Engineering education is about finding solution. And business education is all about finding problem. If you can be two in one, I think you have a good situation to be. And that's where I think the whole point comes to this slide is what can we do now? Is because we cannot solve these problems with the same level of thinking that we created them, right? It's very important that we change it. What do we change? The World Economic Forum says of the top 10 skills, analytical thinking and innovation, the first one, I've just made it bigger, is the top skill to have. Okay? That means we have to be employable in future, which Andy was talking about. This is one of the things that we must have, irrespective of which domain we are from. What does that mean is, how do we question? If you start asking what is 8 plus 8, we'll keep getting 16. If you just ask, say, what all can add up to 16, we get different answers. Maybe we don't like some answers, maybe we like some answers, and maybe they become the disruption. The whole point then is, with the end in mind, a new knowledge should be used to have a business application, which should end with a benefit to humanity. A carbon composite of no use if we cannot apply as a weight reduction technique, which on a plane will save fuel and save carbon footprint. Then we are talking about disruption, then we talk about innovation which is useful. Just a carbon composite by alone which is lighter than steel but stronger than steel has no value if we cannot find the next two steps. So it's very important that we encourage our students and our people to look at end in mind. And when you look at end in mind, you need a different kind of skill set. Today, a skill set we are developing with people is some range of topics which anchored around a certain topic called a generalist. Okay? I have Bachelor's of Engineering in Electronics and Communication, and I know a little bit of adjacent topics. This model of generalist is gone. You want to be a sliding generalist. I have varying depths of knowledge in different topics. I'm not an expert in everything, but I have different level of expertise, and that itself can become a sliding point, depending on which is the current concept that I want to work on. This is a skill and skill set we need to build with our people, with our team, with our academia help. Because this will make them flexible specialists, because in the industry, we don't know what we will need in 2 years from now. Okay? So, this is my last slide. Last but one. Can you please play the video? To be creative is to be innovative. Just watch their expression. to be innovative is a psychological skill where you have to be yourself, because there is no duplicate, which is, except in the case of Charlie Chaplin, where he got the third prize in the Charlie Chaplin look-alike context. But otherwise, we all have to be ourselves, to be very unique. And I think the only way to do that is, if you really want to be different, you have to keep asking these two things to anything that comes across to you. Okay? So that's what I wanted to share, and thank you so much. There is some video or book online which you'll be able to. Thank you.